Okay, so Pamela Anderson just walked into Paris Fashion Week, and honestly, I had to do a double take because the woman who literally defined what it meant to be a blonde bombshell in Hollywood for over 10 years just showed up with copper red hair. And I'm not talking about a subtle highlight situation, I'm talking full-on redhead transformation that has everyone asking, what is actually going on here? Now, before you click away thinking this is just another celebrity hair change story, stay with me because what Pamela said about why she's doing all of this is actually way deeper than you think. And it connects to something she's been doing for the past 2 years that has completely shocked the industry. So, here's what went down at the Condé Nast Paris Fashion Week party. Pamela steps out, and people are literally stopping in their tracks because instead of those iconic long blonde locks that we've all associated with her since the Baywatch days, she's rocking this copper-toned, shorter, shaggier cut that honestly makes her look like a completely different person. And here's the kicker. She paired it with this sleeveless white satin dress that had these gorgeous backside draping details. Very elegant, very sophisticated, totally not what you'd expect from the woman we remember running down the beach in that red swimsuit. But wait, before you start thinking Pamela just woke up one day and decided to go red for fun, her stylist, John Nollet, actually came forward and confirmed something really interesting. This whole redhead transformation isn't just a random style choice. It's actually for an upcoming role that requires her to take a break from being blonde. Now, that right there should tell you something. Pamela Anderson is stepping so deep into her craft that she's willing to completely shed the image that made her a household name. And honestly, I find that incredibly brave, because how many actresses do you know who would give up their signature look, the look that literally defines their brand, just to disappear into a character? Not many. And this is where things get really fascinating because this hair transformation is actually just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to the changes Pamela has been making in her life. See, for over 2 years now, Pamela has been doing something that absolutely shocked Hollywood and continues to make headlines. She stopped wearing makeup. I'm not talking about the no makeup look that celebrities love to claim they're doing while still wearing foundation and concealer. I'm talking about genuinely showing up to red carpets, fashion shows, and major events with a completely bare face. And when she first started doing this, people lost their minds. The media couldn't stop talking about it, social media was absolutely exploding with opinions, and everyone wanted to know why the woman who built her career on glamour and sex appeal was suddenly rejecting all of that. But here's what most people missed, and this is the part that actually matters. Pamela didn't just wake up one day and decide to ditch makeup on a whim. This was the result of a massive internal transformation that she went through, something that changed how she views herself, her life, and her entire identity. Now, let me read you exactly what Pamela said about this because her words are so powerful and they really explain everything that's happening right now. She said, "I think vanity is a prison, and I've cracked the code. This is me, and if you want to put makeup on me and I become another character in a role, I just don't want to play characters in my personal life anymore." Let that sink in for a second. Vanity is a prison, and she feels like she's cracked the code to escaping it. That's not just some service-level celebrity quote about self-love. That's someone who has genuinely done the internal work to understand that the image she was projecting to the world wasn't actually who she was. It was just another character she was playing. And she goes on to say something even more revealing. "I love makeup, I love glamour, I love sparkle, I love everything. But I just feel like this part of my life is about peeling it back, remembering who I am. What are my original thoughts? Who do I want to be?" Now, this is where I have to pause, because think about what she's really saying here. She's not rejecting glamour or beauty or any of that. She's just saying that right now in her life, she needs to strip away all the layers that have been built up over decades in Hollywood and figure out who Pamela Anderson actually is underneath all of that. And honestly, I think that's something so many of us can relate to, even if we're not famous. Because how many of us have built up these versions of ourselves for work, for social media, for our families, and then one day we wake up and realize we don't even know who we are without all those masks. Pamela is doing that work publicly in front of millions of people, and that takes serious courage. But here's the part that really got me, and this is what I think is the most important thing she said. I don't want to be defined by what has happened to me. I want to be defined by what I do. Now, if you know anything about Pamela Anderson's life, and trust me, we'll get into some of this, you know she's been through a lot, and I mean a lot. She's had extremely public relationships, a stolen intimate video that was distributed without her consent, multiple marriages, divorces, struggles with the media absolutely tearing her apart, and through all of that, she became this symbol, but not necessarily the symbol she wanted to be. She became the blonde bombshell, the sex symbol, the party girl. And while none of those things are bad, they also weren't the complete picture of who she was as a person. So now, decades later, Pamela is actively working to redefine herself not by her past, not by what was done to her, not by how she was portrayed, but by her choices, her actions, and her art. And that red hair we saw in Paris is just another example of her shedding that old skin and becoming something new, something that she's choosing for herself rather than what the industry or the public expects from her. Now, let's talk about what this actually means for her career, because I think a lot of people are wondering, is Pamela Anderson making a comeback? And the answer is yes, but not in the way you might think. She's not trying to recapture her Baywatch glory days. She's not trying to be the sexy bombshell again. She's actually pivoting into serious dramatic roles that allow her to showcase her range as an actress, something she frankly never got the chance to do when she was younger because everyone was so focused on how she looked rather than what she could do. This upcoming role that requires the red hair, we don't have all the details yet, but the fact that she's willing to completely transform her appearance for it tells me she's taking this seriously. She's treating this like a proper actor who disappears into their roles rather than a celebrity who just shows up and plays themselves. And you know what? I'm here for it. Because Pamela Anderson has always been more than Hollywood gave her credit for. She's always been intelligent. She's been a passionate activist for animal rights. She's been a mother. She's been a survivor. And now she's finally getting the opportunity to show all of those dimensions on screen. The makeup-free movement that she started, and yes, I'm calling it a movement because it has inspired so many other women, is part of this larger journey of authenticity that she's on. She's literally showing us in real time what it looks like to reject the impossible beauty standards that Hollywood has always imposed, especially on women. And she's doing it while still remaining relevant, still getting roles, still showing up at major fashion events. That's the part that I think is so revolutionary because the narrative has always been that women in Hollywood have an expiration date, that once you hit a certain age or once you stop conforming to the beauty standards, the industry discards you. But Pamela is proving that wrong. She's showing that you can age, you can change, you can evolve, and you can still be celebrated and still be taken seriously. Now, I want to go back to something she said about not wanting to play characters in her personal life anymore, because I think this is crucial to understanding what's really happening here. For decades, Pamela Anderson, the person, and Pamela Anderson, the celebrity, were probably two very different people. And the celebrity version is what we all saw. The blonde hair, the red lipstick, the bombshell image, all of that was a character that she played so well that it became her identity in the public eye. But that character came with a cost. It meant being objectified. It meant not being taken seriously as an artist. It meant having her personal life dissected by the media in the most invasive ways. And it meant that people made assumptions about who she was based purely on how she looked. So now, by stripping away the makeup, by changing her hair color for roles instead of maintaining her signature look, by speaking openly about this internal transformation, she's essentially retiring that character and allowing us to see the real person. And I have to say, I find this version of Pamela Anderson so much more interesting and compelling than the character she was playing before. Not because there was anything wrong with that character, but because this feels authentic. This feels like someone who has done the work, who has figured out what matters, and who is living life on her own terms. The Paris Fashion Week appearance with the red hair is just the latest chapter in this ongoing transformation. But I don't think it's the last. I think we're going to continue seeing Pamela evolve, take on challenging roles, speak her truth, and inspire other people to do the same. And you know what? The fashion world is clearly embracing this new era of Pamela because she's still getting invited to all the major events, she's still turning heads, but now it's for different reasons. It's not just because she's beautiful, though she obviously still is. It's because she represents something deeper. She represents the idea that you don't have to stay stuck in the box that other people put you in, that you can reinvent yourself at any age, and that true beauty comes from authenticity rather than conforming to what is expected of you. I think what Pamela is doing right now